Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with Doctor Who. Last time around we had Lucky Day. Oh, it was a lucky day for someone? At the end, I guess, technically, for Conrad. Okay, so Ruby met this guy named Conrad, who had a podcast where he was trying to find the Doctor. Eventually, they thought that Conrad was being chased and hunted by aliens called the Shriek. However, when UNIT arrived, they revealed that the Shriek were just his friends in costumes because they wanted to expose the lies of UNIT. Somehow this worked, and a lot of young people were like, "Oh, UNIT is so terrible. You know, we need to destroy them and stuff." And Conrad was just a POS. And I won't say what that means for TOS, so, but yeah, and then, he practically destroyed Ruby's life, practically destroyed UNIT, and then Kate unleashed an actual Shriek on him, and then at the end, he was put into prison because he shot someone, and, the Doctor came in and was like, "Dude, bruh," and then he was like, "Ugh," and then the Doctor was like, "Ugh," and then the Doctor left. And that's exactly how that went. And then at the end, Mrs. Flood let him out of prison because Mrs. Flood is turning me into Porky Pig. I don't know. Yeah, so that's that. I mean, it was a very good episode, and I never want to watch it again. And yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. We're halfway through the season now, moving on to the second half, getting back to the Doctor and Belinda, and probably let's see what they do at the end of this episode that shows something is happening with Mrs. Flood. Because we care about that, because that's a very important thing, is who is Mrs. Flood. I don't frankly care, so yeah. What a fun, positive intro to this episode. So let's just go ahead and jump right into this episode, and spirits will improve, I think. I hope. We'll see.
A blue box appeared in the skies over the fire. And a man stood at the door with a hosepipe, spraying and spraying.
Wow. What a nice thing for the Doctor to do.
Fires went out. He always comes when needed.
Oh my gosh, what is happening?
It needs feeding.
Oh my gosh. Oh my god, the entire intro... Oh, okay, I was gonna say, the intro's being played on the wall. That was clever. I like that. Alright, I'm hooked. What are we doing?
Barbershop? The TARDIS does your hair.
It does. It does. I don't go there for cuts. It's hard to explain.
I love that they acknowledge his changing hair.
My body changes a lot. It's the first time I've had this black body. Some parts of the earth I'm now treated differently.
Eh.
But here... in Africa, in that barbershop, I'm accepted. I'm able to forget. They
Treat you like one of their own.
Aww.
yeah.
What an interesting feeling that must be for
Took
him.
me to India whenever she could. Go on then.
But the Doctor always
Take
wants
as
to be
long as you
around
need.
people. Alright, we won her over. Now we can go have a good time. You know, I will say, there's like a slight part of me that's like, oh, we missed him coming here the first time. And, like, integrating. Then again, it probably would have gone exactly the same way. Because he's just that damn suave.
Mama!
Doctor.
Hey!
Come.
Oh!
Oh yeah. Who's next?
out of stories.
But look,
Huh.
Me.
I've got this.
What the fuck is happening? So your hair always grows back.
Upon a time.
Incredible. The drawings in the window are a visual interpretation of his story.
Who, right?
Dalek. Cybermen. Weeping Angels.
You need to get to the court for that to work. They're all connected. The windows, chairs, his clippers. And you must tell a story, Doctor. You must feed it. It is always hungry.
And who has more stories than the Doctor? Oof. The TARDIS does not like this.
Are we under attack? TARDIS! Hello?
Thank you again. I'll speak.
Whoa!
John, let me out.
Okay. You didn't like that.
Belinda, on any given day, nurses are knackered. And after a 13-hour shift, she was done.
His pictures are alive.
She was going home. And she heard something.
Oh, Belinda, could you take her out? All right, she's yours.
It's my nan's birthday.
Interesting.
We're speeding up.
Tuh.
Fighting her tiredness.
Yeah, you're getting more than you bargained for out of her.
Hi, Belinda. Just picking up my pills.
Don't be silly, I'll be
Fucking
there
Mrs.
around
Flood.
7. Up on your feet, wow.
I know what you did for me. The doctors took over. You saved my life. Thank you.
Aww.
Batteries are full. Fullest they've been since the early days.
Oof.
Best time is the hardest.
Eh.
It will be as easy as getting a haircut. What is happening?
Ooh, and it's back, and bigger than it was. Oof, and again.
TARDIS! Locate origin! No source!
Help at all.
Barbershop.
Okay, good, she's on her way. Now she just has to go through the streets that she doesn't know.
Doctor, you have stories. That's all I was thinking. I love this shop. I loved you, Omo.
I thought it was a home for me.
Yeah,
I was safe.
it's a deeper betrayal. You're taking this personally, Doc.
Do not!
Talk to me. Never again. I trusted you with both of my hearts, with everything that I am.
God, he's pissed.
Got it.
Nope. Yeah, that's outside. It's a spider. Okay. Oh god, this is terrifying. Ninja children.
I used to call it the World Wide Web. Until the humans named something far uglier after that.
Eh. It wasn't always like that.
All he has done is stomp around giving people awful haircuts.
Damn.
And they are all scared of him.
He hides his identity like a coward, a troll on the web.
That's stupid, but yes.
Don't be
I go by many names.
Yeah.
Anansi, the man spider. Saga, the Norse goddess. Bastet, Dionysus, the Greek god of theater. Even Loki, god of mischief.
Damn. They are not impressed.
Why are you laughing? What's so funny?
Hey, it's always good to join a laugh.
He's lying to you. He's lying.
He makes up stories.
Dionysus. We drank so much wine we caused a drought in Athens. Saga and I watched Marvel movies up until Endgame. She didn't like Thor, muscles were too small. I played chess with Bastet. You are not them. Tell the truth.
Damn.
Who are you?
Have to answer them. Look at me. Don't let him get to you.
Who are you?
Who?
I was the one behind them. It was me.
It was me, Barry.
I built a model, a web-like structure. Then they expanded to what you saw now. Plus connecting concepts, cultures, and ideas. The Nexus.
How did you collect the stories?
I started small. A pub lit by candles. A Catholic church confession box. A coal-powered theater. An electric cinema. A space opera.
That's it. Abby. The daughter of Anansi. Abna? That is your full name, isn't it?
You speak it.
Huh.
You are not worthy.
Oh.
Was a fugitive back then.
Oh.
He was wrong to offer that.
Okay.
And frankly, darling,
Thank God that they said that. I've been racking my brain this whole time being like, where was she? I don't know. And back.
You actually took that bet.
I tried to lose.
Sit, Doctor. Talk now.
Where are we going?
I wonder if that's in one of the Fugitive Doctor audio dramas.
We'll destroy them. Destroy. As in kill. Die. Dead as a doornail. Done.
Not that there's anything particularly dead about a doornail.
so the women would weave maps into their hair and pass it on. Mothers to daughters, slave to slave, plantation to plantation.
Slave masters never change their hair, so they shape roots like this. Just get to freedom. So good!
Yeah.
It's a shame I might have to ruin it. Why? You'll find out soon enough. Belinda, now.
Stop blowing shit up! Let's go! Now you just gotta use it. Oh, that's actually really clever.
Historian.
Whoa. Ah! Oh, don't touch it. Deep. Oh.
Quick, that control desk. Start ripping out all of the wires. Yeah?
They got it. That's easy.
Drop the floor card.
Get away from my heart.
Kick him.
My stories, my voice. Look, on.
Oh!
Just this one.
Let's go!
When you fire that first shot, no matter how right you feel, you have no idea who's going to die.
When people need help, I never refuse.
Definitely not the man I was.
Let's go. I love when they do this shit.
A barbershop, all of them inside, telling their stories,
Oh.
bickering.
Told a never-ending story and gave me never-ending power.
He's taken out a third of the engine. You can't process that power. Your engine could overload and explode. We'll all be sucked into space.
Yeah, it's like Goku. Let's go.
Do that.
Let's get the hell out of here. No, they made it. No, Spider's coming too. Woof. Oh, the spider. Jeez. Damn.
rise.
This is fucking impressive, too.
I shouldn't have. I thought you could handle anything.
I can, because you look after me too.
But you're part of my community. I should have protected you. Huh? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry too.
Alright, good.
So what will you do now?
Anything I want.
Yeah. I like that she's not staying with him. But he can start fresh.
Did you see a child?
Child?
Yeah.
Meh.
I saw a spooky kid back there. You have to tell me about Omo.
Oh no. It's a long story. But, once upon a time.
Oh, no. Oh. Oh. Okay, that was weird. I actually stayed through the credits just to see, but then there's nothing, and then it's just like... Okay, maybe that's RTD trying to help me. He's trying to help me with that whole thing. Oh, well. He heard me specifically hating how fast the Next Time trailers are, and he tried to help me, and it just didn't work. Didn't work. That was a great fucking episode. You know what's nice? I love a good Doctor Who episode that can just take place in one very easy set location, you know? Just build a set of a barbershop. Oh, as a while, the barbershop is in Lagos and also in the Nexus, and it's on the back of this spot. Perfect. Love that shit. Like, that's such an easy Doctor Who effect. I mean, granted, making an entire Nexus in CG and a giant spider roaming around, sure, you gotta do that effect too. But quite honestly, this saved money, and I like that. I like when Doctor Who does simple stuff like this, you know? So, I guess let's start with the... before we get to the actual good of this story, and not to say this is a bad point, I don't think there's much bad in this episode. I will say, it's great that RTD has brought back the Fugitive Doctor. It doesn't make any sense, but at this point I think we just have to go with that, you know? Because it's funny how at the beginning of this episode, he said that, right? Maybe I need to check just to be sure.
It's the first time I've had this black body.
Okay. So, the Doctor says, this is the first time I've had this black body. Now, I suppose the way he says that could make it open to the interpretation of this is the first time... Well, no, because he says this body specifically. However, he says this. Essentially, this is the first time he has been a black person. But then later in the episode, he remembers being the Fugitive Doctor. And you start to see where my mind just, like, twists a little. It's like, what? Also, this seems to be the very... No. Because... No, I guess they showed that in... during Flux. Was it episode 3 of Flux? Where, they see a moment from the Doctor's past, and it shows the Fugitive Doctor. So I guess this isn't necessarily RTD doing this, but it seems to have confirmed... I mean, this is basically confirming again that the Fugitive Doctor is a Doctor of the past. Now, they still have not decided... Does the Fugitive Doctor... Did the Fugitive Doctor exist before the first Doctor or not? Because there is a problem with that, of a doctor existing before the Doctor, the first Doctor. It's a bit of a problem. It's a bit of a problem. That tends to imply that the first Doctor is not the first Doctor. You know, from the way I see it is that, you know, all that stuff with the Timeless Child happens. They run him through the chameleon circuit, and he basically becomes... He becomes Time Lord instead of the Timeless Child species. So they put him through the chameleon circuit, they make him a Gallifreyan. That Gallifreyan... I guess it's possible that this doesn't happen, but it's possible that the Timeless Child turned Gallifreyan is reverted into a child, perhaps through regeneration. Reverted to a child. The child is adopted by someone, some parents, I guess, some Time Lord parents or something, some Gallifreyan parents. Grows up, and eventually... He basically grows up, lives his life, goes through the academy, becomes a Time Lord, gets old, starts a family of his own, steals a TARDIS, runs away, and is William Hartnell. All of that being one life, basically, after the Timeless Child is put through the chameleon circuit. Now, it makes no sense whatsoever for the Fugitive Doctor to exist before the first Doctor. Because why would she be called the Doctor? Why would she have the police box? Because the TARDIS only became the police box when the Doctor and Susan landed in 1963. It became the police box that we all know and love. The chameleon circuit broke, and then you literally see it when the first moment when they go to the time of the cavemen in An Unearthly Child. You see, and the Doctor looks back and he's like, the TARDIS didn't change. It's supposed to blend in. That's odd. And then 60 years pass and they never fixed the fucking thing. Well, they kind of did once, but that's beside the point. So that's that. It's a whole complicated thing, and quite honestly, I could see RTD not doing anything specifically. Like, maybe, like doing stuff like this, of bringing back the Fugitive Doctor, which I guess the Fugitive Doctor was probably in the lineup of Doctor Faces last season during Rogue. So, in that lineup was also Richard E. Grant from Scream of the Shalka, so I'm going to say that RTD doesn't care. He will just acknowledge every actor who has played the Doctor. Probably. Quite honestly. There probably will not be a definitive answer. There is also the theory that when after the second Doctor is put on trial, spoiler alert, slightly for the end of the second Doctor's era, if there's anyone out there, the second Doctor is put on trial by the Time Lords, and we see that the second Doctor ended up working for them for a while. He even had Jamie there for a bit. It's possible that the second Doctor regenerated into the Fugitive Doctor. Everything of the Fugitive Doctors took place, including meeting the 13th Doctor. Eventually, the Doctor was finished their time with the Division, or escaped, or something, and then regenerated into the third Doctor. Now, it doesn't fully line up with the numbering, but I'm sure there's a hand wave that you could do with that. Either the Time Lords gave the Doctor an extra regeneration, because they would also have to wipe the Doctor's mind. They wiped the Doctor's mind of being the Fugitive Doctor. Look, it's convoluted, and I'm going to say that Archie doesn't care. He doesn't care. He just wanted to get Joe Martin into the episode. And that's that. Granted, he didn't write this, I will say. Granted, he didn't write this episode, but still, I'm going to say that's part of it, is like, hey, I'm sure there was, I'm sure there was discussion with the writer, and they came up with this, and RTD was like, hey, we could put in the Fugitive Doctor here if you want. And they were like, that's a great idea. Or maybe they came up with the idea. I don't know. I don't know the writer. It could be. Either way, there it goes. Because we had to get that out of the way. We had to get all of that stuff out of the way. All those complications that Chibnall made that RTD will keep, but he doesn't care. He cares. He cares enough to bring them back, obviously. But he doesn't care about continuity, clearly. Especially because he put in Richard E. Grant in the head lineup of Doctors, so... So yeah, it's... Every Doctor is canon, I think, as far as RTD is concerned. I think that's what he's going with, so... Which it kind of also lines up with the, that scene with the 12th Doctor, when he was talking to Bill, and, basically explaining the Master, Missy, and was just like, oh yeah, I think she was a man back then. I'm fairly certain I was too, Like that little joke of, like, maybe the Doctor doesn't even remember, he's so friggin' old. None of this matters to the overall story, and it's cool to have Jo Martin back. I mean, that's just really cool. I would love to see more of her as the Doctor. I thought, at the very least, with all the complications of introducing the Fugitive Doctor, she was just really good. She had a great performance. And I would be curious to listen to her audio dramas. That said, I probably won't. Because every time I say that I'm curious to listen to the audio dramas, I just end up not doing it. So... Anywho, the rest of the story is really damn good, quite honestly, and with the last 2 episodes, The Well was really good. The tie into Midnight was a bit hit or miss, I know, with people, but the rest of the story honestly is still really good. It's just sort of the tie-in to Midnight. Last episode again is good. It's good. It's just, to me, it was deflating because I was like, oh, no, poor Ruby. I don't want this to happen, so that's the thing. But it was still a very, very good episode. To me, I would kind of say it's like Captain America Civil War, where with that movie, it's like, that is a really great movie. It is tough to watch, though, sometimes, Like, if you are invested in these characters, watching the conflict between Iron Man and Captain America is incredibly rough, and they act it really incredibly in that movie. So it's the same thing. It's the same basic thing as Star Platinum. So, but this episode, great, no notes. Okay, maybe slightly a note about the Fugitive Doctor, but not a note that matters. This season's been great. This is a great season, man. Like, this has really sort of alleviated a lot of concerns that I had in season 1 or season 14 or whatever, and it's like Shooty's season 1, let's call it that. And I like that season, but it was kind of all over the place, Had great episodes, did have good episodes, but kind of all over the place with what it was doing, And some of that is, for filming, scheduling conflicts and stuff with Shutigawa. So now we seem to be over that. So I like this. And you know what? I will say, like, let's kind of talk about the Doctor's character with this, where this is a place that he felt like was home, And it's interesting, too, because I like that they acknowledge that it's just like, wait, why does he go to a barber? The TARDIS does his hair, And I love, because we've never really acknowledged that. But it's true, the TARDIS does his hair, and the TARDIS gives him, like, different hair, Like, his hair will be grown out in a moment's notice, and it's just like, oh, okay, cool. But it's like, well, the TARDIS did that. And I love you can just kind of hand wave anything else of, like, it's like, oh, why does he look so different? Literally, he'll walk into one door and walk out, and he's got more hair than he had. And it's just like, hand wave, the TARDIS does that. I like that. But I like, because it's been interesting, and we talked about this. Was it last episode, I think, or maybe the episode? It was some episode this season. No. It would have been episode 2. It would have been episode 2 when they talked about, racism and segregation a little, and it's a fascinating concept for the Doctor's character that, now he's black, now he's a black guy, and for the most part, he's still the Doctor. He's still very much the Doctor. There's quite honestly not much difference between... yes, obviously each performance of the Doctor is different to each other, but they're all so good. Like, every actor who's been the Doctor is so good that it all still feels like the same character, And so you have this great continuity because they're all friggin' good actors, They all feel like this character. But to add on, now there's this extra thing with him. Something that he has to think about, the fact that he's not a white guy anymore, he's not a white guy anymore, and in certain parts of the world, that could get complicated. They can go off into space, they can go off into space. The Midnight Alien is not racist. Granted, we have seen space racist before in the Rosa Parks episode and stuff, but still. And actually, we've seen space racist here in this episode, in this era with Dot and Bubble. So, but that was his first that was the first time he really stopped and thought about it. And it's just wait, are you seriously not going to take my help because of how I look? And he's had to deal with that, and it's such an interesting concept. I would think for a writer is, okay, how do you write for this character who is now, a person of color, but they haven't been? And how does that, how does their thought process change? And that, to me, that sounds like a very interesting thing for a writer to do. And so I like that is sort of basically the premise of this episode, that it's there are some parts of the world where they would look at him and just be like, fucking say some bad words, But you go to Lagos in Nigeria, they look at him and they're just like, come get a haircut, man. Come tell a story, So it's a fascinating thing. And again, it's I said this during the reaction, that it is almost a shame because I feel like it would have also been a great episode of, seeing the Doctor first go to Lagos, and, seeing him sort of integrate into this community just a little bit, Because, he's walking down the streets, he knows people, He knows these people, he's shaking hands, giving them hugs, talking to them. Then he goes to the barbershop and, he fits right in there. And it's oh, I kind of wish there was a bit more, I kind of wish there was a bit more of that, but... And just to see, his thought process of sort of integrating into this community, But even still... Then it also works on the note of betrayal. He felt betrayed that that this happened. That Omo was just using him. You just needed me here to do this. I thought I viewed this as a home, a safe place, basically. And there's a part of me that, on the one hand, I'm like, well, would the Doctor really be that mad about this? But it is a thing of this is the first time in a long time, probably, that he has felt, hey, this is a home. And to be fair, if anything, he had a home. He had a home with Donna, His most recent home, his most recent home was as the 14th Doctor, living with Donna and her family, But he did lose that. And he needed a new home. And this for this particular body became that home. And to have that be taken from him, and to have, you know, it's not just that, well, he ended up there, it's that, you know, they wanted to lure him there to help, you know? And that does become a very big issue for him, you know? He felt betrayed. He felt betrayed by it. So it's like, on the one hand, it's like, you know, should this bother the Doctor? But on the other hand, it's like, but that kind of makes sense. Plus, especially the fact that this Doctor, this incarnation, has been so much more, you know, in tune with his emotions and everything, you know? Like, he doesn't sort of push everything down like previous Doctors have. He does let things, you know, he's very emotionally stable, but he does allow his emotions to control him a bit more, you know, I mean, in a more human way, basically. So, I don't know. It's an interesting thing, his sense of betrayal of what happened here, you know? And then we had the Story Lord, which I really thought they were going to tie this into the Mind Robber, you know? Because that was also about stories. This episode worked better, by the way. Story Lord. They're not really saying. Well, maybe I need to go to the story. Okay, they just call him the Barber, I think. So they just seem to call him the Barber, but still. But an interesting thing that he basically served the gods, which is interesting. Like, at first it's like, oh, is he a god? And, you know, is he all of these gods? He sort of took these different forms. And, you know, my mind now is immediately going, it's like, is he a part of the pantheon, you know? But then at the same time, it's like, okay, well, he was also Loki, the god of tricks. And then my mind goes like, is he the trickster? That would be weird, but no, he's not any of that. And it's interesting that it's just like, he told the stories of the gods, but eventually it just wasn't, they didn't need him anymore. They cut him out. They cut him out of his own creation, you know, the Nexus, the web of stories. They cut him out. So it's an interesting thing. It's an interesting interesting story. It's an interesting story, especially like watching the Doctor sort of figure him out slowly, you know? Just like, you know, the fact that the Doctor has met these gods, you know? He has met them. He drank with Dionysus and caused the drought in Athens and stuff, you know? So it's just interesting to see. It's like, but this guy, he wants to be more than he really is, you know? But he felt betrayed. He felt betrayed by his own gods, you know? So it's an interesting story. And I like at the ending, you know, the Doctor basically overloading the system with stories, you know, which is very, you know, I say Goku, this is like one episode of DBZ where there's like, they're fighting this like creature that can absorb light, so Goku just goes like Super Saiyan 2 and just like keeps charging, and it just overfills him with energy and he explodes, you know? So that's what I always think of when there's a plot point like that. So but it's an interesting way of doing it, and we get to see all the Doctors again, which is always fun, you know. I didn't see the 7th Doctor though. I must have just missed him, but I didn't see the 7th Doctor in there at all. So I saw everyone else. Although technically, I don't know if they showed the 14th Doctor. I saw there was the clip from Voyage of the Damned with the 10th Doctor, but I don't know if I saw the 14th Doctor specifically. But but that's always fun when they show the previous incarnations. There's so fucking many of them now, but it's fun. It's always fun when they do that. So, and then there's also Abby, the daughter. So what was it? The daughter of Anansi? Was that it? Abena. Yeah, daughter of Anansi, an African god associated with spiders and storytelling. Interesting. So, the fugitive doctor interacted with that and essentially just left Abby there, and she grew to hate the doctor as well, which is interesting. And yeah, again, a good use of the fugitive doctor. So, actually, because it said audio, so was this an audio drama specifically? Doesn't really look like it. Doesn't really look like it, but I don't know. But it's such an interesting idea. Honestly, that should be a fugitive doctor audio drama, because why wouldn't you follow up on that, you know? So yeah, that's also interesting. You know, someone who knows the doctor, you know, and it does sort of play into the, you know, the doctor, he comes in, something terrible happens, and then the doctor leaves, you know? Like, it's interesting hearing some of this stuff when it's like, well, the doctor doesn't bring happiness, he brings misery. And it's like, well, no, misery was going to happen, and the doctor made sure it doesn't go too far out of hand, you know? But someone can take that the wrong way, like Abby, so... and all the storytelling was very interesting, and like showing it on the screen was very cool, and then like showing everything with the hair, which was really interesting. That was good, and that's a good haircut. That was a good haircut on him, or a good braiding on him, and using that as a map to get through the spider to get to the engine was very fun. So yeah. And I like, again, I like the ending where, you know, it's like, well, Abby can go do whatever she wants now. She's not bound by anything. And I like, because I feel like other episodes she would have stayed with him and they would have run the barbershop together. But I like that it's like, you know, he's running the barbershop now, you know, Omo is retiring. And so he's going to run the barbershop, you know, just collect the stories like a normal person. And Abby just heads out, you know? Just everyone heads out. They go see their families. They go off to live their lives. So it's a really good ending. So, and in the middle of this, just a little brief Mrs. Flood cameo, which, if you didn't know anything about Mrs. Flood, you wouldn't know a thing, basically. You wouldn't notice a thing, which is nice. Like, that was the best Mrs. Flood cameo we've had for a long time. Because there wasn't anything big, you know? And considering this wasn't written by RTD, I'm, like, I wonder if that's a thing of, like, you know, they turn in the script, he checks it over, you make sure everything's good, maybe suggests the Fugitive Doctor, there's discussion about the Fugitive Doctor, and then he's just like, can I just put in one little thing just right here, just need a quick cameo, you know, for season reasons, doesn't affect the story at all, and then that's that. You know? So, I like that this didn't end with, oh, here's Mrs. Flood, isn't this important? And it's just like, shut up! Either tell me or don't tell me. Show me or don't show. Show, don't tell why Mrs. Flood is important. And you have shown me nothing! Nothing! Anyway. So, yeah. Good episode. Very, very good episode. I really enjoyed this. And I'm excited to see where we're going next time. We got 3 more episodes. We've got the next episode. And then after that should be the 2-part finale, assuming we're still doing a 2-part finale this season. I kind of hope we don't, just on the fact that, like, I know we like to have our cliffhanger at the end of episode, at the end of the penultimate episode going into the finale, but I just kind of want more episodes, you know? Like, just more, please. I would like more of this, so... Anyway, but that is basically it. With all of that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist with all of my Doctor Who reactions, as well as another playlist for, well, all my Doctor Who reactions that are on the channel. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.